Hi, I'm Ashley from Cape Classic Cars, and we're back. We've moved again. So since you were last with us, a lot has changed. The demand for our work grew massively and we had to find bigger premises. Hunted around and eventually found a shop that suited our needs, but it was a case of moving in, hitting the ground running and getting started on projects as soon as possible. So you'll see the shop was in a little bit of chaos here and there, just moved in, lifts lying everywhere, cars all over the show. But as we've been going, so things have been getting better set up, lifts are up, and work is starting to pump. So from our old shop to our new shop, we had to move over 40 vehicles, which is a lot of fun. 40 cars in a couple of days is a lot of work, but it was worth it. We got the cars into the space that we needed, and we've already started getting cars out of the door at a much quicker rate. So some of the projects we've got on the go at the moment is a beautiful RestoModSA Pantera, which we've done a lot of mechanical work on. We've rebuilt the engine, sorted out brakes and suspension, and hopefully that car, after a few tunes and tweaks, will be ready to hit the road. We're also busy with the Mercedes 450 SLC, which we've done a colossal amount of metal work and restoration work on the car. And that one's now at the point where we can start doing all the body refinements and the sanding and the filling and getting that car ready for paint. We've got a Dodge Coma van here as well, which is undergoing a lot of mechanical and metal restoration work. We're actually doing a complete engine and transmission swap and suspension. We're going to be changing it into a new Ford running gear. So yes, it's a Dodge, but yes, we're putting Ford running gear in it, so shoot me now, it's okay. The 41 Chevy Hot Rod that we're busy with, the Hot Rod pickup. That car is going to be one of a kind. We've custom built a chassis for it. We're running independent front and rear suspension, LS motor, and it's just undergoing so many small, subtle tweaks and changes to the body and the styling that car is going to be a real head turner. That thing, however, still needs a hell of a lot of work. It's one of those where it's not an overnight project, as much as we would love to do TV magic. But unfortunately, that thing it's months and months on end to get it perfect. And those type of cars you simply can't rush. They need to be done properly to be a safe driver and for the restoration to last. It's pointless rushing any project if in 6 months' time you're going to have paint cracking and the car driving terribly. So that's one of the restorations, unfortunately, that is going to take a lot of time, but it's going to be well worth it. So since you were last with us, in our old shop we had a team of about 5 guys, mechanical and body combined. We've more than doubled that now. We're sitting with 11 staff members. We have expert metal fabricators on board, and we brought a brilliant mechanic on board as well. This allows us to do virtually everything under one roof. I mean, we're not outsourcing much, which is the way it should be. We can keep our finger on control on virtually every aspect of the restoration process. So some of the equipment that we still have coming in is we've got our custom spray booth, which is still being built, still in the process, but it's bigger than normal, which allows us to spray your larger American cars, your big pickups, all that sort of thing, with all their panels in one shot. That's one of the things that we're busy implementing into the workshop at the moment. And again, that adds another facet which allows us to control everything in-house. So here at Cape Classic Cars, we pretty much cover all marks. We work on anything from your antique and vintage cars all the way up to your modern classics. We don't just do American stuff. We work a lot in European, British, Italian, whatever it may be. We love working on classics. So where we see ourselves going and the focus that we want to be pushing into is towards quality restoration work. We do a lot of vehicle maintenance, which is a great facet for people that maybe don't have the time to do it themselves, or that the spectrum of the mechanical work is just a bit more than they can handle. We feel that we can specialize in that and really do that sort of work to a high quality for them. So where we want to push ourselves to, and where we see ourselves in hopefully a few years' time, is to be one of the premier shops in terms of classic restoration, covering all marks and specializing in things like metal and body repair and fabrication, and obviously mechanical restoration. So aside from obviously all the old cars, we do a lot of work on modern cars. We've done a lot of work on Aston Martins, doing carbon fiber repairs, specialist repairs that a lot of other places can't necessarily do or won't do. We're able to actually repair the parts and not necessarily have to replace. So we've trained ourselves, learned by a lot of trial and error as to how to get the finish on the products as close to factory as possible. And the owners of the car seem to be very happy with the end result. So along with all the modern work on the cars, we are exploring and pushing a lot more towards doing the modern motor conversions. So obviously the LS motor conversions is a great option for any old classic where you want to get that reliable power out of a vehicle with better technology and more availability of parts. So we're doing a lot of those conversions, upgrading things like brakes and suspension. I know we've spoken about it many other times, but brakes and suspension is an integral part of the car. You can't skimp on things like that. And nowadays there's so many great donor options that we can use to rebuild the old chassis with the new technology. Albeit if it's not a donor option, it can be straight on bolt-on parts from companies like Woolwood that do brilliant parts. So we've tried and tested a lot of things over the years that we've been doing this, and what we've implemented recently, and we feel that it's going to be of a big benefit to our customers and also helps us a little bit of a business to monitor things even more closely than we currently do, is we've broken away from the conventional single labor rate per hour across the board for the workshop, and we've decided to implement different labor rates based on the different categories of work. So what we've done is we've taken, for argument's sake, an inspection diagnostic rate of 250 Rand per hour instead of your normal labor rate. We've then, at the next step, have a general labor rate. And the general labor rate will cover things like stripping cars, cutting rust out, sanding, body filler, all that sort of stuff. That then falls into the next category, which is the 450 Rand per hour. And then we have our final rate, which is the specialist work. This is the engine building, the hand fabricating of parts, the electronics, all that sort of stuff, the real specialist technical work. That falls under the specialist labor rate rather of 750 Rand per hour. And what this allows us to do is give our customers a really, really detailed breakdown of the work that's going into the car, the type of work that's going into the car broken down into the different categories. So as a vehicle comes in and gets assessed, motors get pulled apart, panels get stripped off, whatever it may be, they will get charged for the relevant work in the relevant categories. It just helps keep restoration costs as manageable as possible for the customer. And obviously from our end, we can really see where certain time has been put into certain tasks to make the job and the staff as productive as possible, so that you as the customer are not wasting time or wasting money.